I'm gonna say this extra loud, so listen up. If you have a problem with me, or if you have a problem with somebody and you don't tell them, that's none of their business. That's a you problem. I'm a big communicator. I have studied communication, and we will talk. If you're my friend, my family, and I love you and I want to preserve the relationship, I will do whatever it takes, and we will sit and talk for hours and days and do whatever we have to do so that we can find a middle ground. I can make sure you're heard, you can make sure I'm heard, we can understand each other, and then we can find a solution to prevent this from happening again in the future. So when I have a problem with somebody, I directly go to them and we talk about it, like, hey, I just want to, confrontation does not equal conflict. Confrontation means communication. You could turn it into conflict if you don't communicate well, but it doesn't necessarily mean conflict. And I think that's where a lot of people have fear with confrontation, that it has to be, and that has to do with past experiences, how you grew up, etc., or just observing in the world, how the world is. However, if you have a problem with me and you don't tell me, that's not my problem. I'm not gonna, first of all, I'm not a mind reader. Second of all, we're not children. I'm not gonna go up and ask you and be like, oh, I noticed you're giving me the silent treatment. If you start acting weird, you start acting funny, I'm gonna ask once. And if you're like, nothing, I'm fine, then that's that. I guess we're not fucking friends anymore. You know what I'm saying? Like, for me, it's weird because I've had this happen a few times where like somebody would just not be my friend off an assumption they made without even ever communicating with me. And I'm like, hey, what's going on? And they're like, I don't want to be your friend anymore. Off an assumption that they made about either I knew about the situation or the way I felt about the situation or my perspective without even communication. So I'm going to say it again. If you have a problem with somebody and you don't tell them, that's not their problem. That's your problem. They can't know. They can't know what they did wrong. You're not helping anybody. You know what I'm saying? People act all entitled, like they just have to know and they have to chase me. Bro, we're all equal human beings. If we care about the relationship, we communicate. So if you got a problem and you don't tell somebody, that's not their problem. That's your problem. And you know what? If you don't care about the relationship and you don't even want to bother and you just don't care enough to communicate, then that's fine. But that shows me that you never cared the way I would have cared. Because if you would have come to me, we would have talked until forever, and I would have wanted to hear and validate your feelings, If you got a problem with somebody, you don't tell them, that's not their problem. That's you problem, baby.